I had 12 seconds to decide if I was going to let him bleed out on my linoleum floor or become complicit in whatever nightmare he was running from. The decision should have been easy. Call 911, step back, let the system handle it like I had been trained to do in the 4-hour employee safety video I half-watched 3 years ago. But the system was exactly what I was hiding from, and the man bleeding between my counterstools was not looking at me like a victim seeking help. He was looking at me like a wolf that had just recognized another wolf in sheep's clothing. The blood trail started at the door, 3 perfect drops on the floor, then a smear where his hand caught the door frame, then nothing because he had gotten smart and pressed his palm against the wound. Professional, controlled, the kind of control that came from being shot before. His other hand stayed inside his jacket. I did not need to see the gun to know it was there. His eyes swept the empty diner in 2 seconds flat. Exit routes, camera positions that did not exist, sight lines through the windows to the street where 3 men were climbing out of a black SUV with the kind of purpose that made my stomach drop. "Kitchen," I said, already moving. "Now." He did not ask questions. That told me everything. Normal people ask questions. Normal people explain, apologize, hesitate. This man followed me through the swinging door like he had been expecting the invitation, his footsteps too quiet for someone losing blood at that rate. I could hear the diner's front door chime. Boots on tile, voices speaking Korean fast and sharp. The walk-in freezer was 15 feet away. The man's breathing was getting worse, shallow and ragged. His face had gone pale, sweat beading along his jaw despite the cold that rolled off the cooler unit. But his eyes stayed sharp, calculating, watching me with the kind of attention that meant he was deciding whether I was help or threat. I made that calculation in reverse. If I hid him and they found him, I was dead. If I turned him over, I was a witness. And witnesses ended up in police reports with their real names attached. Real names led to databases. Databases led to the people I had spent 3 years making sure never found me again. Either way, I was already involved the second he walked through that door. The voices got louder, closer. I grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the freezer. He moved with me, one hand still pressed against his ribs, blood seeping between his fingers. Up close, I could see his suit was expensive. Tailored. Now it was ruined, soaked dark on the left side. I shoved him inside the freezer between the milk crates and the rack of frozen hamburger patties. His breath came out in clouds. For 1 second, our eyes met. His were dark, unreadable, but there was something there. Not gratitude. Recognition. "Do not move," I said. "Do not make a sound. Do not die." "They will kill you for this," he said, voice low. They were going to kill me anyway. I shut the freezer door and turned around just as the kitchen door swung open. If you want to know how I survived what came next, subscribe and hit the like button so I know you are still with me. This is where everything turns deadly. Find a quiet spot and turn off the light. Now, let us continue. 3 men walked into my kitchen, and I recognized the older one immediately. Not from the diner, from a courtroom. My hands went numb. 3 years ago, sitting in the back gallery, wearing a federal badge, while I testified about money laundering networks that connected senators and judges to $500 million in ghost accounts. He had been watching me then, taking notes, making sure he knew exactly what I looked like. I forced myself to keep wiping the counter, to keep my breathing steady, to not look at the freezer door. "Nobody back here," he said in English, scanning the space. His eyes passed over me like I was furniture. But I caught it. The microsecond where his gaze snagged on my face, the way his pupils dilated just slightly, the tiniest pause before he looked away. He knew exactly who I was. The 2 younger men spread out, checking the supply closet, the storage room. One of them reached for the freezer handle. "Do not," I said, the word coming out sharper than I intended. They all looked at me. I forced a smile, tried to sound apologetic instead of terrified. "The compressor is broken. You open that door, everything inside spoils. I have got a repair guy coming in the morning. Last time someone left it open, I lost $300 worth of meat." The lie felt thin, transparent, but the younger man's hand dropped from the handle. He looked at the older one, waiting for direction. The older man studied me, really studied me, and I saw the calculation happening behind those cold federal eyes. He was deciding something, weighing options, making a choice that would determine whether I lived or died in the next 60 seconds. "You work here alone?" he asked. "Graveyard shift, just me and the roaches." I kept my voice light, conversational. "Tips are terrible, but at least nobody bothers me. That does not seem safe." He stepped closer, close enough that I could smell his cologne, expensive and subtle. "Pretty girl like you, all by yourself. Anything could happen." My throat was dry, but I met his stare. "I can handle myself." Something shifted in his expression, a flicker of something I could not read, almost like respect, or maybe recognition of a game being played. He pulled out a business card. No name, no agency, just a phone number printed in black ink. He set it on the counter between us, his fingers lingering on the edge like he was giving me time to really see it, to understand what it meant. "If you see anything unusual," he said slowly, deliberately, "call me, day or night. I am always available." The emphasis on unusual made my skin crawl. He was not asking me to call if I saw something. He was telling me he knew, that he had always known where I was, that I had never actually been hidden. "I will keep that in mind," I said, my voice somehow steady. He smiled. It did not reach his eyes. Then he gestured to the two younger men, and they filed out through the kitchen door. I listened to their boots on the tile, the front door chime, the SUV engine starting outside. I counted. 1 second, 10 seconds, 30, 60, 90. My hands were shaking so badly I had to grip the edge of the counter to hold myself upright. When I finally opened the freezer door, the man inside had his gun out, pointed directly at my chest. I froze. "Federal agents," he said. Not a question, a statement. I nodded slowly, not taking my eyes off the gun. "Former federal agents, maybe. I do not know what they are now. But you recognized one of them." His voice was steady, but there was something underneath it. "Suspicion, yes." "From where?" This was it, the moment where I either lied and probably died, or told the truth and definitely died. I stared at the gun barrel, at his finger resting against the trigger guard, and made a choice. "From a courtroom," I said. 3 years ago, when I testified against people who launder money for criminals." "Never heard of you," he said finally. Relief flooded through me so fast I felt dizzy. He did not know. He did not know what I had done. "My name is Lim Woo Jin," he said, sliding the gun back into his jacket. His movements were slow, deliberate, like he was trying not to spook me. "And we need to get out of here before they come back with a warrant to check that freezer. Or before they realize the compressor is not actually broken." "How did you? You had good instincts with the lie, but your timing was off. You hesitated half a second too long. A real panicked owner would have spoken immediately." He stood, then immediately swayed, grabbing the metal shelving for support. His face had gone gray. "But they did not notice. So we are lucky. You need a hospital. Hospitals keep records. Records get subpoenaed." He started moving toward the door. One hand pressed against his ribs where fresh blood was seeping through his fingers. "I will handle it. You will bleed out before you make it to the parking lot." He stopped, turned to look at me, and for the first time I saw past the control to the calculation underneath. He was weighing whether trusting me was more dangerous than passing out in the alley. "I have a first aid kit," I said. "It is not much, but do it fast." He moved staggeredly back to the booth, dropped onto the seat with a pained exhale. "And then we are leaving. Together. I am not going anywhere with you. You do not have a choice anymore. Those men know you helped me. That makes you involved whether you like it or not. He was right. I knew it. But hearing it out loud made my chest tight. I grabbed the first aid kit from under the register and moved back to the booth. My hands were still shaking as I pulled out gauze, medical tape, antiseptic. When I lifted his ruined shirt to check the wound, I had to bite back a gasp. It was worse than I thought. The bullet had gone clean through, but the exit wound was ragged, still bleeding steadily. He needed a surgeon, real medical care, not whatever Band-Aid job I could do with supplies meant for kitchen burns. "This is going to hurt," I said. "Just do it." I poured antiseptic over the wound and he did not make a sound, just gripped the edge of the table so hard his knuckles went white. I pressed gauze against the wound, applied pressure, tried to remember the half-forgotten first aid training from a lifetime ago. "Why did you help me?" he asked through gritted teeth. I kept working, kept my eyes on his wound instead of his face. "You will owe me. I am offering you $50,000 to forget my face." The number should have meant something, should have been tempting. Money could buy a lot of things, new identities, distance, safety, but it could not buy what I actually needed. "I do not want your money," I said. "I want your protection." His eyes sharpened. From who? From the people who have been hunting me for 3 years, the ones who just walked through my diner pretending to look for you when they were really confirming I was still here. He studied me for a long moment, and I could see him reassessing, recalculating, trying to figure out if I was an asset or a liability. "What did you do?" he asked finally. I testified. I thought the government would protect me. I taped gauze over the wound, knowing it would not hold for long. I was wrong. 1 week, he said. "I will keep you safe for 1 week while my people vet your story. After that, we are even. How do I know you will not just kill me once you have figured out who I am?" "You do not." His voice was matter-of-fact, not cruel, just honest. "But right now you are more useful alive, and I pay my debts." It was not reassuring, but it was something. "Deal," I said. The front door chimed. We both froze. His hand went to his gun. I held up a finger weight and moved toward the kitchen door, peering through the round window. A woman stood in the diner, mid-30s, black tactical clothing, moving with military precision. She was not looking around cautiously, she was scanning, cataloging, assessing threats with the kind of efficiency that made my stomach clench. She pulled out her phone, typed something. Behind me I heard Lim's phone buzz. "That is Han Yurin," he said quietly, my head of security. Han's eyes locked on the kitchen door, on me watching through the window. For 1 second we stared at each other through the glass. Then she crossed the diner and pushed through the door before I could move. Her eyes went to Lim first, the blood-soaked shirt, the makeshift bandages, the way he was gripping the table to stay upright. Then to me. And when she looked at me, it was not casual. It was the look of someone comparing a face to a photograph they had memorized. "We need to leave," Han said. Her voice was clipped, professional. "Now. There is a federal surveillance van 2 blocks away. They are setting up a perimeter." "Can you get us out?" Lim asked. "Not both of you." Han's eyes never left my face. "I have 1 exit route, 1 vehicle. 2 people in that car means we are too slow, too visible, too suspicious if they are watching. Then we take 2 vehicles," I said. "I do not have 2 vehicles, and I do not have time to call for backup without alerting whoever is monitoring our communications." Han's jaw tightened. "I can get him out. You will have to find your own way." Lim stood, swaying. "She comes with us. That is not tactical. That is emotional. She saved my life. That makes her a witness who can identify you, who can testify about tonight, who has already brought federal attention to this location." Han's voice was getting sharper. "I understand loyalty, but we need to think strategically. I am thinking strategically. Those men did not come here looking for me. They came here looking for her." Lim gestured at me. which means she knows something valuable enough that federal agents are hunting her at 3 in the morning. Han's eyes narrowed. What did you say your name was? The question felt like a trap. Monica Williams, I said. Han pulled out her phone, her thumbs moved fast, efficient, typing into some database I could not see. I watched her face carefully, watched for the moment she found whatever she was looking for. It came quickly. Her eyes widened, just for a second. Then her expression went carefully, deliberately blank. She is clean, Han said to Lim, pocketing her phone. No warrants, no flags. She was lying. I did not know what she had found, but it was something. Something that made her eyes flick to me with an expression I could not quite read. Not suspicion, not anger, recognition. Both of you, out the back, Han said. My car is in the alley. Lim, you are in front. Monica, you are in back. If I tell you to run, you run. If I tell you to get down, you get down. No questions, no hesitation. Clear? Wait, I did not move. How do I know you are not just taking me somewhere to make me disappear? How do I know this is not a trap? Han looked at me, really looked at me, and for the first time something almost like pity crossed her face. You do not, she said simply. But those federal agents are going to be back here in less than 5 minutes with enough legal authority to tear this place apart. So your options are: come with us and maybe die, or stay here and definitely die. Your choice. She was right. I hated that she was right. Clear, I said. We moved through the kitchen, out the back door into the alley. Dawn had broken fully now. Gray light washing everything in that ugly pre-morning haze that made everything look like a crime scene. Han's car was a black sedan, nondescript, the kind that would disappear in traffic. Lim got in front with a pained grunt. I slid into the back, my heart hammering so hard I could feel it in my throat. Han started the engine. The sound seemed impossibly loud in the quiet alley. She pulled out slowly, checking mirrors, scanning the street, and a second black SUV rounded the corner, blocking our exit. Shit, Han said. It was the first time I had heard emotion in her voice. Can you reverse? Lim asked. Dead end behind us, loading dock, then go through them. They will shoot. They are already shooting. Lim's voice was calm, almost clinical. The question is whether we give them time to aim. Han's hands tightened on the wheel. Hold on. She slammed the accelerator. We hit the SUV at 40 miles an hour. The impact was violence in its purest form. Metal shrieking against metal, glass exploding, the airbags in the front deploying with a sound like a gunshot. I was thrown against the seatbelt so hard I felt something crack in my ribs, my head snapping forward, then back. But Han kept driving, pushing through, the sedan's engine screaming, the SUV's front end crumpling like paper. Then came the real gunfire. Bullets punched through the rear windshield. I saw the glass spider web, then shatter, fragments raining down on the back seat. I dropped to the floor, hands over my head, making myself as small as possible. Monica. Han's voice cut through the chaos. Front seat, glove compartment, gun. I scrambled over the center console, barely registering the pain in my ribs. Popped the glove compartment. A Glock 19 fell into my hands. I checked the chamber automatically. Loaded, ready, muscle memory from a training session 7 years ago that I had thought I'd never need again. You know how to use that? Lim was watching me, his face pale but his eyes sharp. Yes. Then use it, rear window, aim for the tires. I turned, braced against the seat, lined up the shot through what was left of the rear windshield. The SUV was 3 car lengths behind us, closing distance fast. I could see the driver clearly, tactical vest, trained posture, the same professional precision as Han. These were not street thugs. These were operators. I fired twice. The first shot went wide, sparking off the SUV's hood. The second caught the front left tire. The SUV swerved violently. I watched the driver overcorrect. watch the vehicle fishtail, then slam into a parked delivery truck with a sound that echoed through the empty street. "Nice shot," Han said. There was something in her voice that sounded almost like approval. We drove in silence for 5 minutes that felt like 50. Every turn made me think we had run into another roadblock. Every siren in the distance made my stomach drop, but Han navigated through the city like she had memorized every street, every alley, every camera blind spot. Finally, she pulled into an underground parking garage and killed the engine. The silence was deafening. "Everyone out," Han said, "now, before someone reports gunfire." Lim was bleeding again, fresh blood soaking through the bandages I had applied. Han got her shoulder under his arm, half carrying him toward a service elevator. I followed, still clutching the gun, my hands shaking with adrenaline. The elevator ride to the 20th floor felt endless. Nobody spoke. Lim's breathing was labored. Han's face was set in grim determination, and I was starting to realize exactly how far I had fallen into whatever nightmare this was. The elevator doors opened onto a hallway that screamed expensive. Modern art on the walls, recessed lighting, the kind of building where people asked questions if you did not belong. Han used a key card on one of the doors. We stumbled inside. The condo was exactly what I had expected. High-rise luxury, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, furniture that cost more than my car, the kind of place where criminals pretended to be legitimate businessmen. Han dropped Lim on the leather couch and immediately went to work. She had a medical kit hidden in a kitchen cabinet, the kind with surgical supplies, real supplies, not the Band-Aid kit from my diner. She cut away his shirt without ceremony, inspected the wound with clinical efficiency, started threading a needle. "This is going to hurt," she said. "Just do it." Lim's jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscle jumping. I watched Han work. Every movement was precise, practiced. This was not the first time she had stitched a bullet wound, probably not even the 10th. "He needs antibiotics," I said, "and something for the pain. The wound could get infected." "I know." Han tied off a stitch with practiced efficiency. "I am not an amateur. I was not implying." "Yes, you were." She looked up at me, and her expression was unreadable. "But you are right to question. Trust should be earned, not assumed." She finished stitching the entry wound, then carefully flipped Lim to access the exit wound. He did not make a sound, but I could see the pain in every line of his body. When Han was done, she went to another cabinet and pulled out prescription bottles. Antibiotics, painkillers. She shook out pills, handed them to Lim with a glass of water. "Swallow," she ordered. He swallowed. Then Han turned to me, and her entire demeanor changed. The efficient soldier persona dropped away, replaced by something heavier. Sadness, anger, grief. "Sarah Thompson," she said quietly. The name hit like a bullet. Lim's eyes snapped to me, then to Han, and I saw the exact moment betrayal registered on his face. "What did you just say?" His voice was dangerous, low, the kind of calm that came right before violence. Her real name. Sarah Thompson, federal witness 3 years ago. Han pulled out her phone, showed him the screen, testified against a money laundering network that should have taken down senators, judges, and half a dozen crime families, including the Sung-Ho family. The Sung-Ho family. The words hung in the air like poison gas. Lim stood up. Too fast. Pain flashed across his face, but he ignored it, moving toward me with purpose. The Sung-Ho family raised me, took me in when I had nothing, gave me everything. I did not. I started. You testified against them. His voice was flat, empty. You are the reason the patriarch went to prison. You are the reason everything fell apart. It was not about your family specifically. It was about the money laundering network. I did not even know. You did not know? He laughed, but there was no humor in it. You destroyed people's lives and you did not even know who they were? I was trying to do the right thing. The words burst out of me. They told me I was stopping criminals, that I was helping. I was 24 years old and terrified, and they said if I testified, bad people would go to prison and that would be the end of it. And how did that work out for you? I flinched. Han stepped between us. Both of you, stop. Getting emotional does not help anyone. She lied to me, Lim said, not taking his eyes off me. She saved my life knowing who I was, knowing what she had done, using me for protection. I did not know who you were when I helped you, I shot back. You were just a bleeding man in my diner. I made a choice based on survival, same as you have been doing your entire life. Do not pretend we are the same. We are the same. We are both people who got caught in systems bigger than us, and had to make impossible choices to stay alive. The difference is I own my choices. You are still pretending you were a victim. The words stung because they were partially true. You knew, Lim said to Han, his voice going cold. In the diner, when you ran her background check, you knew who she was, yes. Why did not you tell me? Han's jaw tightened. She looked at me, then back at Lim, clearly weighing something. Because my brother was the federal agent who placed her in witness protection, she said finally. Jung Ho Han, FBI. He promised her she'd be safe. Then he started investigating why the case fell apart, why evidence went missing, why guilty people walked free. And, Lim prompted, and he disappeared. 3 years ago, same week Sarah's witness protection handler stopped calling. Same week the case collapsed. Han's voice cracked slightly. His last message to me was encrypted. Paranoid. It said, "Find Sarah Thompson. She is the key to everything." She pulled up a photo on her phone. A young man in FBI Academy graduation robes, smiling like he still believed the system worked. I remembered him. Jung Ho Han, the agent who had sat across from me in a safe house and swore that I'd be protected, that they would not let anything happen to me. Your brother, I said slowly, my mind racing, was the only person who knew about the offshore accounts. Han's eyes sharpened. What offshore accounts? The ones the Sung Ho family hid. The ones that were never recovered after the trial. Your brother found them, that is why. I stopped, the realization hitting me like ice water. That is why he disappeared. He found proof that someone inside the federal investigation was working with the criminals. What proof? Lim demanded. I do not know specifics, but he came to me 2 months after I was placed in witness protection. He seemed different, paranoid. He asked me questions about financial transactions I had testified about, account numbers, routing information, details I did not remember. Why did not you tell anyone? Han asked. I did. I called my handler, told them your brother seemed erratic. They said they had handle it. I looked at Han. 2 weeks later, my handler stopped answering my calls. The safe house phone went dead, and I was alone. Han sank into a chair, her face pale. They did not just kill him. They made him look crazy first, discredited him, so if he tried to expose anything, no one would believe him. Who? Lim asked. Who did this? The man at the diner, I said. The one with the federal badge. His name is Daniel Ribbs. He was your brother's supervisor, I said to Han, and he was on the Sung Ho family's payroll. That is an accusation, Lim said carefully, not proof. Then let us get proof. Han was already pulling out her laptop, her fingers flying across the keyboard. My brother was paranoid, but he was also thorough. If he found evidence, he hid it somewhere I'd be able to find it. She typed for 3 minutes straight, accessing servers I could not identify, using credentials that probably were not legal. Finally she stopped. I have his backup files, she said quietly. Encrypted, protected, everything he found before he disappeared. She opened a folder. Inside were dozens of documents, bank statements, wire transfers, encrypted communications, and photographs Daniel Ribbs meeting with men I recognized from my testimony 3 years ago. This is substantial, Lim said, reading over her shoulder. But it is not complete. These accounts do not match the testimony. There is money missing. Because someone has been stealing from both sides, I realized. Taking money from the Sung-ho family while taking payoffs from Daniel. Playing everyone against each other. Who? Lim asked. I thought about the car chase, about who knew where Lim would be, about who benefited if Lim disappeared. Someone in your organization, I said. Someone close enough to know your schedule. Someone who has been feeding information to Daniel for years. Lim's face went carefully blank. You are suggesting someone I trust is working against me. I am suggesting someone you trust wants you gone. Daniel gets you, they get your empire. Everyone wins except you. That is a bold accusation to make without evidence. Then let us get evidence. Han closed the laptop. But we need to do it carefully. If there is a mole, they are already reporting back. They know you are injured. They know Monica is with us. They are probably planning their next move right now. Then we plan ours first, Lim said. He walked to the window, staring out at the city. The morning light was fully up now, casting long shadows across the buildings. Somewhere down there, people were living normal lives, going to work, drinking coffee, not running from corrupt federal agents and betrayal. I have an idea, he said finally, but you are both going to hate it. What kind of idea? I asked warily. The kind where we use you, Sarah, as bait. My eyes got darkened. This is the end of part 1. If you think you know how part 2 unfolds, tell me in the comments, do I survive being used as bait, or does this end badly for all of us? Let me know where you are watching from, and what you would have done if you were in my place. Subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you are the first to know when part 2 drops. Because from here on out, nothing is safe.